Hi there and welcome to the Daily Arsenal News Show. Let's dive into today's top stories. £10 million Arsenal player is really popular in training. He is always so positive. Of course, after winning a six-pointer on Sunday, the mood around the club has been incredibly positive, and one of the star performers of that night, Jorginho, has now been enjoying a lot of praise for his coveted big game role. Moreover, when discussing how pivotal Jorginho could be in the run-in, Standard Sport have been sharing a few details regarding the midfielder's personality around the club. According to the report, Jorginho is a very popular player at Arsenal's training ground, a player with a very positive attitude. You can see why Arteta leans on him. The Spaniard has always been so complimentary of Jorginho, even when he has suffered a difficult moment or two. Arteta definitely realized his worth, and even when Arsenal agreed to an initial fee of £10 million to sign Jorginho from Chelsea, questions were asked right away, but Arteta was confident in his plan and it's paying dividends. Even Declan Rice's praise of Jorginho at Arsenal speaks volumes. He is constantly speaking about how much he learns from the Italian, so if Thomas Partey is going to be missing once again for a period, Arsenal will be so grateful to have Jorginho in the squad, a player now known for his giant beer hugs around London Colney, and with a tough trip to West Ham United on Sunday, the midfielder could be needed again. That being said, Arsenal could also welcome back an incredibly important face for the trip, Takahiro Tomiyasu. Journalist names the only major Arsenal player who may have gone in January. It was a very quiet January transfer window at Arsenal. There were no new signings, and interestingly, there weren't any high profile departures either. Indeed, despite plenty of chat about the likes of Aaron Ramsdale or Edin Ketaya leaving, Arsenal kept the squad together. Speaking on Shots TV, Chris Whitley has been dissecting the lack of outwards movement at Arsenal during the January window, and he stated that Smith Rowe was the only major player who could have left during the winter window. Whitley shared what he knows about Smith Rowe. He said, Arsenal batted away West Ham's inquiries. He is a really talented player, Smith Rowe, but he's had injury problems in recent months. Arteta likes Smith Rowe, and that's why he's given him minutes. There would have been departures, but Arteta wants to have a full squad for this run, and Smith Rowe was the only major first team player who could have left, but Arsenal decided to keep him at the club. This may not be a popular opinion, but in our view, Smith Rowe may have been best off leaving Arsenal in January. As much as we want to see Smith Rowe performing well at Arsenal, the fact of the matter is that he is way down the pecking order at the Emirates right now. He is not getting the game time he deserves, and there are a number of talented players ahead of him in the hierarchy as things stand. At the age of 23 now, Smith Rowe needs to be playing regularly to aid his development and get back into the England team. But as things stand, it looks like he is set for another 6 months on the bench until the transfer window reopens. The best thing for Smith Rowe's career may be to leave Arsenal in the near future if things don't change soon. BBC Pundit says Arsenal player nobody likes actually played really well on Sunday. Kai Havertz isn't the most beloved player to ever pull on an Arsenal shirt. The German has been largely frustrating since joining the Gunners in the summer, and Arsenal fans and neutrals alike have been fairly critical of his performances over the past few months. However, at the weekend, Havertz played a key role in the win against Liverpool, and speaking on the BBC Radio 5 Live Football Daily podcast, Nedum Onuha has been full of praise for the German. Indeed, despite the fact Onuha says nobody is a fan of Havertz, he said that he thought he was very good against Liverpool. He said, I'm going to say it, and I know nobody cares, but I thought Havertz played well. I did. I know people hate on him, but I think if you look at what he was doing, and he was relentless. Havertz is the reason Liverpool were down to 10 players. He was working hard all the time. I know we spent 90 minutes listening to people saying how bad he is, but there is a reason. He is on the field to make the difference. Havertz may have put in his best performance yet in an Arsenal shirt. The German has been widely inconsistent since signing for Arsenal, struggling to nail down a proper position in this team. However, against Liverpool, he finally showed how he can be useful to this team. If nothing else, he can be a Noises who occupies defenders as a withdrawn number 9 in order to create space for others to get in behind and cause real damage. If Havertz can put in this sort of performance every single week, then the critics will certainly be silenced before too long. £160,000 a week Arsenal man expected to sign a new contract this summer. There has been a bit of chat about Mikel Arteta leaving Arsenal recently. The Spaniard has been linked with a move to Barcelona after Xavi announced he was leaving at the end of the season. However, the man himself has shut down those rumors, and now there has been another positive update on Arteta's Arsenal future. Indeed, speaking on Shots TV, Chris Whitley has claimed that Mikel Arteta is said to have contract talks with Arsenal, going as far as to state that he expects the Spaniard to sign a new contract with the Gunners this summer. He said, Arteta came out in his press conference and said he was upset with those reports and they are fake. That's good news for Arsenal, who really want to keep Mikel Arteta at the club. Contract talks are expected to resume and continue. I would expect Mikel Arteta to sign a new long-term contract with the club, maybe at the end of the season, maybe just before. Arteta has a really strong relationship with the owners, Stan and Josh Kroenke, and for that reason, I don't expect him to go anywhere anytime soon. This is a great bit of news for Arsenal at a time when Jurgen Klopp is leaving Liverpool and Xavi is leaving Barcelona. There is something of a leadership vacuum around Europe's elite right now, and tying Arteta down to a new deal leaves Arsenal in a great spot to push on further and get right amongst the top and the Champions League winning conversation. Arteta has proven his value to Arsenal over the past few years, and the fact that he will seemingly be staying for the foreseeable future is great news for the Gunners. Fingers crossed Arteta can sign this deal soon, and Arsenal can work towards winning more major honours under his leadership. Pundit says £6 million Arsenal players shooting has got worse this season. Gabriel Martinelli put in a fantastic showing against Liverpool on Sunday. The Brazilian was back to his best, he ran his socks off, and while he was fortunate, he also scored a decisive goal in the game. Martinelli scored his fifth goal of the season against Liverpool at the weekend, and while he played brilliantly against the Reds, it has to be said that his goal tally at this point of the campaign probably isn't good enough. Martinelli netted 15 last term, and he is not on a track to match that number this time around. Speaking on the Hyper Squad YouTube channel, Steve Nicol has been discussing Martinelli's form this year, and he says that his finishing has been off this term. He said, even when you are not at your best, if you are still a threat, that's the sign of a good player. That's what's happening now with Saka. That tells you how a good player is when every opposition player is wondering where this guy is. Martinelli is a bit the same. This year, I think, his finishing has been off compared to last year, but he is a threat. Nicole is absolutely right. Martinelli's finishing hasn't been as good as it was last season, and that's something that does need to improve. 5 goals at this point of the season just isn't good enough for a player of Martinelli's quality. It's frustrating to see Martinelli scoring at this sort of rate because we know he can do so much better, and hopefully he can use his performance against Liverpool to get back firing on all cylinders. If Martinelli does find form, he could score the goals that ultimately win Arsenal the Premier League title. £50 million Arsenal player is expected to sign a new contract soon. Arsenal have done a fantastic job at tying their key players down to new contract over the past 12 months. Takahiro Tomiyasu is reportedly close to signing a new deal, and speaking on Shots TV, Chris Whitley has claimed that the same can be said for Ben White. Whitley shared what he knows about the £50 million man. He said, Ben White is another player who is in talks over a new long-term deal. We expect him to put pen to paper, similar to Tomiyasu, either before the end of the season or at the end of the season. Very happy at Arsenal, very committed to the club, wants to stay, and positive talks have already happened. Good news for everyone at the club at the moment, a lot of happy players. This is a huge boost for Arsenal. Indeed, White's contract was getting to the point where it needed addressing, and it's good to see the Gunners acting quickly and decisively on this front. For years, Arsenal allowed contract situations to become problems. The likes of Ozil, Alexis Sanchez, and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang all had their own individual sagas on that front, but now it sounds as though the Gunners are being more proactive than reactive when it comes to getting new deals sorted for their players. Arsenal have a very talented core of players at the moment, and if they can keep everyone together over the next few years, success will surely follow. Keep your eye out for an official announcement around White's new contract in the coming months. Declan Rice now reacts after 21-year-old midfielder confirms his departure from Arsenal. Miguel Aiz bid farewell to Arsenal fans on Instagram, and Declan Rice has wished him well. The Gunners didn't do anything with respect to incomings in the winter window, but a few of their academy graduates were on the move, either on loan or permanently. Aiz was one of them. Miguel Aiz joined Arsenal when he was just 5 years old. The talented central midfielder came through the ranks at Hale End and even made his first team debut under Mikel Arteta in the Europa League back in December 2020. Everybody who watched Arsenal's youth sides were convinced Aiz was going to be a future first-team star, but the last few years have been really difficult for him. Arsenal finally decided to let him go on a transfer deadline day last week, and Aiz completed a permanent move to Spanish third division side Atletico Baleares. The 21-year-old took to Instagram to say his goodbye to Arsenal. It was an emotional message, and he received a lot of love from Gunners. Summer signing Declan Rice also wished him well. He wrote, "All the best, Migs." We were absolutely convinced Aiz would become a star at Arsenal, but for one reason or another, he failed to live up to his potential. However, he is still just 21 years old. He has a lot of time to get back to the top, and we really hope he finds his feet again. What people inside Arsenal are saying about signing Ivan Toney now after his comeback. Arsenal target Ivan Toney is back from his ban, and he has looked really good for Brentford in their last few games. The England striker missed 8 months of football after being found guilty of breaching the FA's betting rules. He was constantly linked with a move to Arsenal during that period, but those links may be about to go away now. Ivan Toney is one of the best strikers in the Premier League, and it's no surprise at all that Arsenal have been linked with a move to sign him over the last few months. The Gunners have no prolific centre forward in their squad. Gabriel Jesus, Edin Ketaya, Leandro Trossard and Kai Havertz can all play there and do reasonably well, but none of them will guarantee 20 goals a season. That's why numerous people urged Mikel Arteta to sign a new striker in the winter window, and Toney was the name on many fans' minds. However, after no move materialized in January, the noise coming out of Arsenal suggests they have absolutely no interest in Toney anymore. That's according to Dean Jones, who told Give Me Sport the following. At the moment, even Ivan Toney, though, is being played down to me, and people say inside the club that Toney's not on the radar. We'll have to wait and see about that, because I have heard otherwise, but certainly Arsenal are going to be in the market for a player of that level. Ivan Toney seems like the obvious choice for Arsenal for so many reasons. The Englishman is in his prime, knows the Premier League well, and the fact that he will have just 12 months left on his contract in the summer could make him affordable. However, if Toney is no longer on Arsenal's radar, We think Mikel Arteta has someone else on his list, as Arsenal desperately need a new striker in the summer. The likes of Victor Osimhen, Dusan Vlahovic, and Joshua Zirkzee have all been linked, and it will be interesting to see who Arsenal will go after. As we wrap up today's Arsenal news, remember to stay tuned for daily updates right here on the channel. Don't miss out on the latest updates, so make sure to hit that subscribe button and give us a like if you found this information valuable. Your support means the world to us. Thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.